Good morning. If everybody would please stand, we'll welcome our graduates. Let's all be seated. Good morning again. I'm Paul Alberto. I have the honor of being the Dean of the College of Education and Human Development, and it's my pleasure to welcome you here this morning to this culminating academic ceremony of our college and of the university. It is one of the happiest days of the college calendar, and we're hoping it will be one of the most memorable days in your lives. I did say culminating, so if you ever wondered, is this ever going to be over? In about 20 minutes, you will be done. I am joined on the platform today by the senior representatives of the college administration, the three associate deans, Dr. Joyce Manny, Dr. DeShonda Patterson, and Dr. Christian Vargas, and by the chair of the Department of Educational Policy Studies, Dr. Jennifer Esposito. Graduates, like your family and friends, all of us in the college are proud of your scholarship, your accomplishment, and your dedication. We recognize the maturity of character and purpose required to meet the demands of school and family and work, and to succeed at each of those. We are indeed delighted to gather today and dedicate this ceremony to you. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Christian Vargas, who will say a few words of greeting to you. Dr. Vargas is a member of the Faculty of School Psychology. She is the director of the Center for School Safety, Environment, and Class Management, and as I noted, is the Associate Dean for Research and Graduate Studies. Dr. Vargas.
Good morning. Thank you, Dr. Alberto, for that warm introduction, and welcome to our honored guests and graduates. This morning, it's my absolute honor to recognize and to congratulate the Georgia State College of Education and Human Development class of 2021. You've worked harder than you ever thought you could, and today we are here to celebrate your amazing accomplishments. It's also important for us to take a moment to recognize those individuals who have walked with you during this amazing journey. First, your instructors, professors, faculty members, and advisors. Your classmates, colleagues, and peers, and especially those family members and loved ones who have supported you and encouraged you as only they could. Thank you to you all. Today, I'll share a brief story and some questions and end with my thoughts and suggestions for you to ponder as you engage in your work as future leaders to support your students, teachers, school mental health professionals, administrators, families, and communities. I'm the proud daughter of a public educator. My dad taught and coached at an urban high school for over 30 years. My brother and I grew up running around classrooms, the gym, football field, basketball court, and baseball diamond. We thought that everyone at the school were our family members, and we trusted all of them to take care of us. We often had one of my dad's student athletes living in our home when they did not have any other place to go. I never knew the reasons why they were there, and it didn't matter. I was happy for them to be with us. They were a part of our family. How different times were back then. Throughout my childhood, I watched my dad teach classes and run practices. He was a master with instruction and classroom management. My dad was strict. The kids referred to him as old school. He had high expectations and a heart of gold. I also saw him struggle as he fought against systemic inequities that impacted his students, families, and the communities where he worked. I watched as his student athletes experienced racism on the field. He tried to protect them in those situations, and then the importance of being with them to process what happened in the ways that he and they knew how. I was a sponge, and he was my idol. I saw how he was able to work with students and their families to help them change their lives through education and sports. It may have been a naive perspective at the time, but it was mine. As far back as I can remember, I knew that I wanted to be an educator, like my dad, but in my own way. After working several years as a social worker, doing much of what I saw my dad do in schools, I decided to return to university to obtain a doctoral degree so I can become a professor. So why did I share this story with you? These are the experiences that planted the seed for my lifelong commitment to education, teachers, school personnel, students, and their families. Reflecting back, I realized that I was privileged to experience such a strong sense of school belonging and community. I watched adults focus on developing and maintaining positive student relationships in the classroom and outside of the classroom. I saw how important it was to fight for and with your students and community against systemic inequities and racism. I was able to see the amount of time, energy, and devotion that went into creating a safe, supportive, and affirming school. I had experienced what I wish all students and school personnel could experience. As the retired 7th Secretary General of the United Nations once stated, education is a human right with immense power to transform. Knowledge is power, and information is liberating. Now we fast forward 20 plus years, and we are in the midst of a pandemic and divisive politics that has significantly impacted education and schooling in the United States and around the world. These collective traumas have created challenges and at the same time, many opportunities. Therefore, I'd like to pose some questions for you as future school leaders. What does education mean today? What are the challenges in moving education forward? How do we address misinformation and mistrust? How do we support and protect research and science? How do we address the mental health crises for our youth? How do we recruit and retain future teachers and school personnel? Are we meeting the social, emotional, and academic needs for all of our students? If not, how do we disrupt these narratives and create safe spaces for all? Questions like these are for you to think deeply about as you develop and evaluate curricula, support teachers conducting high-quality instruction, create safe, supportive, and affirming schools, and prepare our students for an ever-changing world. While books are being banned, topics of diversity, cultural competence, critical race theory, and social emotional learning are being challenged, never has education been more important. Yet it has been a difficult time and a stressful time for our teachers, school personnel, and our students. While limited attention has been focused on the needs of our school leaders, we have worked tirelessly throughout this pandemic. As a leader who started my administrative role during the pandemic, I'd like to share 6 suggestions taken from lessons learned that hopefully you can take on your own journey. First, help meet the emotional needs of your teachers and school personnel so they can meet the needs of their students and deliver high-quality instruction. People emotionally need to be safe. The pandemic has highlighted the importance of this for many of us. The adults in our buildings need to feel emotionally and physically safe before we can create spaces for our students. Therefore, you need to take the time to know your teachers and their situations, particularly during these challenging times. Second, remember the importance of listening, really listening to their concerns, their anxieties, and to help teachers and school personnel stay focused on developing positive student relationships and student learning communities. Be present, be vulnerable when necessary, and most importantly, give grace when things don't go according to plan. Third, you don't need to have all the answers. And I know this one is hard to hear, yet I'm sure it's advice that you often give to others. Utilize the skills of those around you. Take advantage of leadership styles that help elevate you and others. Remember that it always takes a village. 4, Cultivate relationships rooted in equity. Alex Vanette, who wrote Equity-Centered Trauma-Informed Education, noted that adults need to feel cared for, connected, and grounded in order to have the capacity to show up for their kids. Remember that striving for a connection is a universal need. 5, for every challenge, there is an opportunity. Look for the positive in every situation. Sometimes it'll be more difficult than others, I realize, and yet focusing on the positive is what will help you, your staff, and your students motivate to move forward. 6, manage your stress. Take care of yourself through sleep, nutrition, and exercise. Check on others who have the same role. Find a mentor, someone who has had the job before you, and a coach, someone who can help you create strategies and actions for change. School leadership can be lonely due to the nature of the job. Reach out to your colleagues, stay connected, and create boundaries regarding technology. Pace yourself. This is a sprint. This is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and we need you. I'd like to finish with this. We drive each generation of educators and human service professionals to think creatively and always to be one step ahead. You've gained the skills needed to promote physical and mental well-being, the knowledge to share expertise with schools and communities, and the experience to improve the future for those who need it most. As you leave here, you will continue to explore, innovate and lead, and to be the advocate and the change agent that is so needed in the world today. So once again, I'd like to congratulate the Georgia State University College of Education Human Development Class of 2021. Congratulations.
This morning, we will present the degrees Doctor of Education and Educational Specialist. These degrees represent the highest academic awards for practitioners in the education disciplines. They are designed to meet the professional requirements of those whose career goals include leading educational institutions and agencies. Will each of you who is here to get a degree today please stand? By the authority delegated to me by the President of Georgia State University and the authority vested by the Board of Regents of the University System of Georgia, I hereby confer upon you the degree described in the official records of these commencement proceedings with all the applicable rights, privileges, and responsibilities. Let us all give a rousing applause for these graduates. You can have your seats, and we will now proceed with the presentation of the degrees and the hoodings.
Jamie Daniels Favors, Doctor of Education in Curriculum and Instruction. She will be hooded today by Dr. Enderly. Jimmy Aaron Owens, Doctor of Education in Curriculum and Instruction. He will be hooded today by Dr. Freer and his mother, Von Seal Owens. I would like to invite Dr. Jennifer Esposito, Chair of the Department of Educational Policy Studies, to please stand. Nicholas Kahn, Doctor of Education in Educational Leadership. He will be hooded today by Dr. Cowart Moss. Let's give a round of applause for our Doctor of Education graduates and degree candidates. And now we will recognize our Specialist in Education graduates and degree candidates. Devon Rainford, Specialist in Education in School Counseling. I would like to invite Dr. Jennifer Esposito to please stand. Andrea Smith Ward, Specialist in Education in Educational Leadership. Let's give a round of applause for our Specialist in Education graduates and degree candidates.
Before I give some closing remarks, can we all stand up and applaud these people? Their lives have now changed. I also want to echo what Dr. Varjas said earlier about thanking the wives and husbands and parents and children. We all know that these are not easy years, and they are particularly not easy when you're trying to change your life with one of these types of advanced degrees. And now you've renewed your professional path, those of you we have just congratulated, with new knowledge and new skills. Please understand and take pride in the fact that you did your graduate work here in the College of Education at Georgia State University, recognized as one of the most influential and innovative colleges of education in the country. It is our hope for you that time and experience will temper knowledge into wisdom, and that wisdom guides the manner in which you lead your professional and personal lives. Thank you all for joining us and acclaiming these people today, and now please join us outside for a reception.